The ability to maintain composure in times of difficulty and crisis is going to be crucial to have executive presence. And there's a lot of advice out there on how do you maintain composure, and the common advice are things like hit the pause button, right? Go outside, take a walk, close your eyes and meditate. All of these are great, but what are you going to do when you're on the spot? Right? When you're in the middle of a presentation, when all eyes are on you, when you're in the limelight, when everybody's looking at you and waiting for you to say something, how do you hit that pause button? How do you go for a walk? How can you do these things on the spot? So what I want to share with you in this video are 3 very practical ways on how you can regain that composure when you are on the spot and you can't just hit the pause button. You can't just walk outside. What are you going to do? So these are 3 common ways, and as you are listening, what I want you to do is comment below and share with me what you have learned, because knowledge is not power, applied knowledge is power. So comment below. I want to hear from you. So let's go. So 3 key principles. Principle number 1 is to shift your focus to the goal at hand. Because let's face it, when it comes to our anxieties in that moment, anxiety is an emotion that we feel. We have an emotional response to something. That anxiety then goes on to create a lot of different content in our mind. We think about the worst case scenario. We think about what they're going to say to us. We think about all the different ways they're going to think about us. We think about all the different criticisms that could come out of it. We think about all the different responses that we don't want to that we don't want to see, we don't want to experience. So this creates the content of our mind, and anxiety leads to a changing and manipulation of that content. And it's actually the content of our mind that gives us anxiety, not the moment itself. If you think about it, when you're presenting in front of people on stage, when you are in the limelight, when all eyes are looking at you, that particular situation is neutral. It's not going to physically harm you. It's not going to be able to derail your career path. That event itself is neutral. What's not neutral is all the things that you think about that give us anxiety, the feeling, the emotion of anxiety. So that's why if you will develop the skill set on shifting your focus to the goal at hand, it allows you to be in the present. And now you can focus on the real objectives of that goal instead of what you think the objectives are from your emotional response. Because we have emotional interpretations. Whenever your anxiety is correct me if I'm wrong, comment below, I want to hear from you. But whenever we are anxious and the emotions are running high, we make a lot of interpretations through our emotion about what the present is. And what our interpretation of what's going on in the present isn't actually what's going on. So that's why in the moment you can shift and you're looking at what's present, now you can know, what do I got to do? What is the desired destination? What are the tasks? What are the responsibilities? And it allows you to kick in the cognitive aspect of your brain instead of the emotional aspect of your brain. So that is the very first principle. And as we're walking through this, I want to hear from you. What are your key takeaways? So that's the first principle. Let's go on to the second principle. So with that first principle, you're going to be able to see the present for what the desired goal actually is instead of what you're afraid it is due to your emotional interpretation. Right? So then that leads us to principle number 2. And principle number 2 is to engage your cognition. Because let's face it, whenever you are feeling anxious in that moment, impromptu, in that particular situation, your amygdala is going haywire. And when your amygdala is going haywire, that means we're feeling all the different emotions. It could be fear, it could be anxiety, it could be a combination of all of those things, and nervousness kicks in as well. That amygdala is hijacking our brains, and in that moment, our ability to maintain composure and self-control and self-governance, it goes absolutely haywire. But the opposite of the emotional brain, the amygdala, is the executive center. The executive center of your brain is the rational center. That's what makes the decisions. That's how we can really think things through and to be able to act in accordance with our values, in accordance with what the mission is, instead of acting reactively. This is the way that we can be more proactive. So in terms of making that transition from the emotional part of our brain, the emotional centers, into the executive centers, this is why it's important to engage with the cognitive part of our brains. The moment the cognitive part of your brain, the executive center and the front part here, the moment that part is engaged, the emotional centers will be in the background because the executive centers will take over. So on the spot, this is what you do. On the spot, impromptu, when you're noticing there is anxiety, there's heightened nervousness, anxiety, the content of your mind is running rampant, interrupt it, because that's been the pattern. So this is where you can introduce what's called a pattern interrupt and do something that requires your cognition in that moment, that requires your cognitive attention. The moment you can practice that, you're going to notice that the emotions are going to calm. The emotions are going to be translated. Instead of going haywire, you're going to be able to have the composure you can need to be in the present. Principle number 3 is to offer your service. Because let's face it, when you're in front of teams, when you're speaking to individuals, when you are doing a presentation, you're there to be in service to other people. And even in that moment where you feel a great deal of pressure and noise, and when you feel a great deal of performance anxiety and the content of your mind is going haywire, in that moment, if you can shift your mind into looking on how you can be a service to one person in that audience, to look for it. Start to be on a mission in that moment on how can I be of service to just one person that I'm speaking with right now. The moment you do that, what's going to happen is that your focus is going to shift away from you and onto somebody else. And the moment your focus shifts to somebody else, this is where the nervousness can subside as well. Because one of the key reasons why we feel that anxiety in the first place, that public speaking anxiety, that stage fright, is because the focus is on us. And we're primarily concerned with how am I going to be received? Am I going to get criticized? How are they looking at me? And so that is the primary focus, is when it is on me, the anxiety can really seep in. But if your focus is on others, as it is because you're there to be of service, then this is where the edge gets removed, the edge gets taken off as well, and you can maintain your composure. Right, so if you have enjoyed these 3 tips, then comment below. Remember to give me a thumbs up as well. And I have another video for you. Now, this is a video where I talk about how you can develop the true success mindset of the ones that are top performers of their industry. So if you are serious about learning more, then that video is coming right up next. I'll see you there.